My name is Darren Hupke, and this is Pixels and Polygons, part of the Soundstone Network. Welcome to a new episode of Pixels and Polygons. I am Darren Hupke, the host of the show. If you are a returning listener, thank you so much for coming back and checking out another episode. Hopefully this is another entertaining one for you, and I appreciate you for coming back week after week. If you are new, it's a simple pitch. I sit down with a guest each week and I ask them a video game related prompt or question, and we talk about it. It's 20 to 40 minutes or so each episode. This can stem from topics like what's a underappreciated or below average game you love that doesn't get enough attention, or what is your history with video games? When did you start playing and when did you fall in love with them? Or why do you play the games that you play? There could be a lot of different things. The conversations can go in a lot of different directions, but the point is just to have a great and thoughtful conversation that maybe sparks your own ideas or your own interests as a listener to think about your own responses, and hopefully just have some fun along the way. If you like what you hear and you want to support the show, I've got a few different ways you can do that. I have links in the show notes below to everything that I do, and I'll highlight one of those in particular. Beat 'em Up Volume 1 is a love letter to the genre. Volume 1 of the series breaks down the Final Fight franchise and covers the entire series. So you get histories and development details, artwork, screenshots, magazine scans, a lot of artifacts from the era covering every game in the franchise, from the 1989 arcade original all the way up to 2006 and the release of Final Fight Streetwise. There's also chapters that cover where this series is now, its appearances in other properties like Street Fighter, comics, TV shows, cartoons, all those types of things. So if you're a fan of beat 'em ups, if you're a fan of Final Fight, this book has all the history and all the details I hope you will enjoy and love and find something new about one of my favorite franchises of all time. You can buy it physically over on pixelsandpolygons.net, but you can also buy digital copies over on my Patreon shop. Links to all of these will be in the show notes below, but check it out. Beat 'em Up, Volume 1. With that out of the way, we can start the episode right after an ad from one of our Soundstone Network partners.
Hello, we are Kirby Conversations, a podcast on Kirby, along with other adjacent subjects like Smash Brothers, HAL Laboratory, and other related Nintendo games.
In each episode, we take an in-depth, well-researched look at a Kirby topic, drawing on our decades of experience playing Kirby games, creating Kirby-related content, and working in and around the video game industry. I'm Sean Douglas. I'm a theater and video game journalist.
And my name's Bridget. I'm an online Kirby commentator and collector.
Our team also includes photographer and Nintendo ambassador Kai Captain Dangerous Parker and Gigi, the editor-in-chief of Wick Kirby. Join us for deep dives into Kirby's history, interviews with industry professionals, and even inside looks at Nintendo, as together we explore all things Kirby and HAL Laboratory. You can find Kirby Conversations on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Pixels and Polygons, a conversational podcast about video games. I am Darren Hupke, and I am back with another fine fellow from Fine Time. I was trying to make an alliteration, but I only had a couple of F's there. But we've got Steve from Fine Time back again with us. We can say returning because he is returning. If you hadn't listened to the previous episode, we talked about a wow moment the last time Steve was on for his first episode. So go back wherever that is in the podcast feed and listen to that first, maybe, or not, or just listen to this one. It's choice is yours. But welcome back again, Steve. How you doing?
I'm more surprised you let me come back after what I pulled out for a wow moment, to be honest.
No, 3DS talk is always fun. And, the Resident Evil formula, from the way that you described it, it sounds like they had the classic, like the notes and breadcrumb of like that story that you get mixed in with like that gameplay of like that Resident Evil 5, 6 era, which not a lot of people love. I don't really even love it. To me, it was like pizza, actually. I didn't say it then, but I played 5 and probably enjoyed it. This is going to sound super blasphemous, and you can reach out and slap me over the screen, but I probably liked 5 as much as I liked 4 because I played it like co-op, and I feel like anytime you can play co-op in a game, it's like pizza. Like, you can have a good time with it, and it was fun. And I like just going through mission by mission and playing with my brother and a friend again a second time through. I know it's not as good as a game, and I know they broke their balance in mystery and puzzle and fun with like just ridiculous sun-based, environments and action and everything. But something about it I still had an entertaining time with. But yeah, that's just my weird enjoyment of it.
I didn't even get to finish 5 because I usually play games alone. I didn't have anyone to play 5 with by the time I really got to sit down and play it. And your companion is kind of dumb without a person to control them. So she just kept jumping into plagas or into furnaces or whatever she could find to kill herself in. She was just doing. I'm like, I can do literally anything else with my time. I have other video games to play. I don't need to. What do I got to prove? And then next year I played Resident Evil 6. I'm like, yeah, this isn't good, but it's better than 5.
So, I still haven't played 6. I don't know.
It's not good, but it's very dumb and cheesy. So
yeah, I don't know. It's
worth that going for it.
Dropping everything and putting anything down just to go find it. Like, I'm not going to do that. But maybe one day, maybe on a rainy day or so. But I live in Arizona, so there's only about 4 rainy days a year, so it may not happen. I sometimes play co-op games, and I'll like, out of obligation, make somebody else play with me. Oftentimes my wife's the victim of it, but like, I remember going through the original Gears of War, and
oh no,
when you played co-op, like, it was almost like you had an extra life. Like, if I was playing single player and I died, you just restarted the last checkpoint. But if you do, if you have a co-op companion in there, they can like come and revive you, or you can go and revive them. So what I always liked about that was like playing with somebody, even if they were bad, was like giving me an extra life or an extra chance to like, have somebody come over. So I would put my wife through so much stress and anxiety if I was ever downed, and like, come over, hold on, stay alive, come over and pick me up. And she's just like, doesn't want to make me mad and play through it. It's just super fun and funny to do that. And games like Guacamelee that had a co-op mode, that I loved. And again, when it allowed you basically to have like an extra life in that moment to play. And it's fun to make people who don't like video games as much as you do have the pressure to stay alive for you, just so you can beat the game individually and independently.
So what I'm hearing is that you're a selfish player.
Yeah. I'm a selfish player and a selfish lover. But that's my problem. That's my curse. What have you been? So we, on the last episode, you can listen to it. Steve is a part of the Fine Time podcast. They talk about old games, talk about new games, talk about all types of things, even non-games. It's a really fun conversation with you and your co-hosts. So if you want to like check out another video game podcast, please go listen to that. But beyond that, Steve, what are some games you've been playing recently and enjoying, even if it was for the show or not? What are you doing on your free time, video game wise, that you're having fun with?
Well, I don't know if I was really having fun with it, but a little game called Anthem is shutting down soon. And since I lost all my Fine Time bucks betting on very, very dumb things in retrospect, again, I had to try playing through that campaign. It's perfectly fine, but it's not that great either. The last time I lost all my Fine Time bucks, I had to play through Balan Wonderworld, and that was god awful. Never again. But
I think I bought Anthem day one, like not out of like hype and thinking it was going to be the second coming of Jesus and everything. Like, I knew it wasn't going to be, but I still thought like, I'll have enough like, entertainment out of this, and it was fine. But obviously it failed because it wasn't the second coming of Jesus like everyone was requiring it to be, unfortunately.
It's perfectly serviceable, but then you consider it's from BioWare, and what are we doing? We're just punching things and shooting things again and again. And sometimes we have to bring a thing to a place.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, there's not a lot of variety. You open up the world, you open up the scope, you try and make the game feel bigger, but then there's just less things and not as much things to do as you'd think. And so you think that was something that would have come up in a meeting much earlier before they started to release the game and launch the game.
But it's okay. Pretty soon I'll be playing games like Kirby Air Riders and Metroid Prime 4. So that's the good days are coming soon.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, how about we get into it then? You wanna do an icebreaker and then we'll do our this or that's. Okay. I asked this one on a recent recording with somebody, but I don't know when the episode airs, so I don't know if it sounds like you're going to get this back-to-back episode. Sorry, listener, but I like this question. If you were a fighting game character, what or where would your stage location be? E Honda's got like the bath, I mentioned it before, Goro's got Goro's lair, the dungeon and everything. Everyone's got that themed stage for them. What would be that themed stage for you?
Oh, I know where I'd like it to be, but if we're being real, it's going to be at probably at the bar I like going to for all the food that's not good for you. Like, but we'll just duke it out right in front of the bar, regardless of what everyone else is doing. And the game's on. I don't care. We're gonna just duke it out right there.
Well, that feels very Street Fighter-esque, like there you can totally see this like a bar stage with a couple of patrons in the background, some Final Fight characters, because they can't have their own video game anymore, but they can appear in the background of stages. So you can have like Axel in the background eating something at the bar or something. That'd be cool. Okay. What type of fighting game do you think it would be? Would it lean more Street Fighter? Would it be Mortal Kombat or some obscure Blaze Blue Axis action?
Probably more Street Fighter. I like Street Fighter, even though I'm not throwing no Hadoukens. I'm more E-Honda at heart, if I'm being real. I'm playing Street Fighter 6 on my Switch too, and my creative character is just me wearing a tie and glasses and just being way too big to be doing all the stuff that all the things that they want me to be doing. It's funny as hell.
Yeah, I loved that World Tour mode. That was a good time. Speaking of Final Fight, that was the closest I've gotten to playing a Final Fight game in a while. All right. Well, let's hit you with some this or that's then, and then we'll get into the topic at large. How's that sound?
Sounds all right.
All right. Would you this or that? Graphics or frame rate?
Gonna get nailed to the cross for this one. Graphics.
Mm-mm. Yeah, a lot of people lean frame rate these days. They just want to say like, I'd like it to play smooth, but you want it to look good.
I bought a new system. I want it to look nice.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm split. I like the same thing. I'd prefer it to be able to somehow do both, but yeah.
Yeah, me too. But
yeah, that's not the world we live in. We were promised 4K 60 frames per second, a decade ago, and we're still fighting with not that being a possibility.
Certain things do need that 60, but if I can handle it 30 and 4K, that's fine.
Yeah. Xbox 360 or PS3?
Oh, that's a tough one, but 360 in the end.
360. Okay. Let's see. Mario Tennis or Mario Golf?
Mario Tennis far and away.
Far and away. Okay. Unnecessary sequel or remake? So if you'd like say one of your favorite franchises, would you rather them make an unnecessary sequel for it or remake an older?
Yeah, I'd rather you remake it, because even if it's bad, I'd rather you just try it again than try and redeem it with a sequel.
Okay.
I mean, one of my favorite game series is Earthbound Mother, and that series is over. So I'd much rather see all those games get remade before I see Mother 4.
Okay, that's a good point. Monster Rancher or Monster Hunter?
Monster Hunter.
Okay. And first person or third person?
Third person.
Okay. And then last one we'll do here. Ryu or Ken?
Ryu. Yeah.
Ryu. I don't know why I say Ryu. As a kid,
because
I said Ryu.
We're younger,
Yeah,
and I heard Ryu too. Even on TV when they were selling the toys, Ryu with his high kicking action.
But like I know it's Ryu, and I've tried to correct myself every time, but like yeah,
I had to unlearn it too. It's fine. I'm not gonna.
That '90s child in me is just like Ryu. All right. Well, thank you for participating and allowing me to mispronounce a character's name again. We're gonna answer the main topic question. This is one you picked. I love that you picked this one too, because I think maybe only one other person has answered this. So you're going into some uncharted waters. I love that. I have a whole list of questions, and I love answering the what's an average game you love that doesn't get a lot of attention, or the wow moment question. I love talking about those things. Absolutely. I don't want to say don't answer those questions, but I do like from time to time to get in the obscure list there and find some stuff. So for this episode, you want to answer, is there a game you missed? One that maybe won't stand up today, maybe it will. Something maybe you would have loved, but or even loved to experience it during its original time, but for whatever reason, you missed it. I'd love to hear about that game and maybe what was going on. Maybe what was going on that caused you to potentially miss this game. But what is that game for you, Steve?
Well, it's funny you bring all that up. I do like to dig through them crates and find them things. If you listen to my show, there's all kinds of during our What You've Been Playing segment where it's like, I think Steve's just making up video games after a while with whatever I've been playing, if it's not something that just released. And last time you threw the arcade or console at me, and I said console, obviously, but I like arcade games. I like going to the arcade sometimes and playing the thing, and I like having arcade compilations on my system. And here's the thing, I could usually meet those where they're at. And I'd really like to meet this one here, but no matter what I do or how I try to tackle it, I just can't get to Tower of Druaga where it is. If you don't know what that is, it's a Namco title where very old forebear to what we'd call an action-adventure title today, that they were trying in the arcade with all these secret things to do on your way to the top, and you were never going to figure that stuff out on your own. And the way they usually try to get around that now is, here's all the answers for you on the menu. Mm-hmm. That's not fun.
So I missed that as well. I did not get the chance to play that game, but when I was doing one of my books, 32-bit library, on covering all of Namco's games, it was my volume 2 of that, playing the Namco Museum games, I then stumbled across this and was able to play some of this. And this for sure would have been a game, like if I was a little kid, like little kid Darren, if my local arcade had this would have been one for sure I would have loved to have come back to and play like again and again and again. But I didn't have a chance to play it just because, just so happened to be right outside that age for that. 90s arcade games is kind of what filled my arcades, and I didn't have a chance to play, some of those like 80s gems, especially from Namco and everything. So, I missed this one as well. But yeah, continue. Go ahead. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's just the same reason that you just brought up. I mean, Pac-Man persisted forever, but no one was going to keep this around if they ever had it. You read about Japanese arcades like keeping notebooks around where everyone's like, you go this way and that's how you solve this level, and everyone's like comparing notes and writing down other things. Like, I would have been all about that in 1980 whatever, but the moment is literally gone. Mm-hmm. We can't play it that way anymore. And like I just said, hopping on the menu of the Switch version every 2 seconds to do it that way is just not the way at all.
Yeah. And what's interesting though, like even the gameplay style, like it's, dungeon crawling-esque, kind of adventuring through, finding keys and then making sure you can get to the locked doors to advance to the next map and everything. Like it's a very arcade feeling, but it's also like that feeling of progression. Like, this day and age, you save the game, like you can start, stop, and continue. This is meant to be played like, just one and done. Like obviously you can pump more quarters in to keep going, but the feel of like adventuring and exploring through places like that wasn't typically when you got a lot of, from an arcade, because that wasn't typically what people, wanted to do. There wasn't a way to resume where you last left off. So like the vibes of this game, were quite different. I think that's part of the reason why there's like an interest and that feeling of missing something, because it was unique at the time. It wasn't just a space shooter or a horizontal shooter, or anything like that at all. It did something different. Did you ever see The Return of Ishtar, like the sequel to it?
I know what it is. I've never played it.
Yeah, that also, because of those Namco Museum games, I got exposed to that. But that was there was two characters on the screen at the same time, and if you were playing by yourself, you essentially had to like control both characters at the same time. Like they both needed to move, they both had to adventure through and everything. And so I don't know if the intention was that they expected a single player to do both, or a requirement that you would have a friend play through it with you and everything. But that instead of having like single screen maps and everything, had explorable like gauntlet style like environments that you went through and everything too. So it took the same kind of like feel and vibe of it, but really spiced up the graphics and added like a second player to it. But that is also one that I thought would have been cool to probably go into an arcade and be able to see that and play that with a friend. But from what I know of like Japanese culture and everything, even with like when Street Fighter hit, like, they would have arcade cabinets that would play against each other and not necessarily stand side by side. Like they weren't looking to come in and like compete and fight against each other early on. So it's an interesting design choice to have a game requiring strangers to potentially play together when that's not necessarily what the people were, confident and comfortable to do in those moments. They kind of wanted to go to the arcade to zone out and be on their own.
Yeah, even back then, you just think of how Bubble Bobble required you to have a second person to get to the end. Otherwise, it kicked you back to 20-ish levels or so.
Yeah, that's a crazy design choice. Yeah, really, really crazy design choice to do that. Wow. So do you have? I know you said the consoles over the arcades and all that stuff, but do you have memories of going to arcades and like seeing this game then, or what about it gives you that feeling that you kind of missed out?
No, I never played this game in arcades, but the first time I actually played it was on the Switch version in Namco Museum. And again, not to toot our fun time horn, but we like to dig through. We like to play through lists of the entire compilation of a thing. We play through all the Nintendo Switch apps. We're not just looking for the Earthbounds and the Super Marios. We'll play those other games too. So yeah, I'm going down the list, and that's when I played Tower of Druaga after some Pac-Man, and I'm like, okay, I'm playing this. I'm losing a few times, but this is clearly what they want me to do. But this is not going to be it, and this probably would have been better in its proper habitat in the 80s with other people like passing by, and in my room by myself waiting for other stuff to do was not how I was supposed to play Tower of Druaga. Yeah. I mean, it was meant to be played in a nice cabinet with the phosphorus glow of their monitor and, the sounds and lights all around you and everything. But yeah, I missed it just like you. And being, I'm a very PlayStation biased individual. The original PlayStation was my first console I picked up myself and enjoyed everything about it. There was a game Namco did on that, Dragon Valor, which was kind of like a spiritual like connection. Like I think there is connectivity to like the world of Tower of Druaga and all that stuff like within Dragon Valor. It's not like a necessarily direct. It's not like a massive amount of lore written about those games necessarily, but the developers Namco did intend for this game to kind of like have a little spiritual connection to that series too, which I always thought was kind of interesting. I always loved the visual and art style of that Dragon Valor game. And that also, even at the time, 3D action games and platforming games and things were obviously popular on the PlayStation. This kind of threw it back to a bit more arcadey style gameplay with, 3D and polygons and everything, which was interesting. Did you ever play Dragon Valor, or do you remember seeing that? No, I don't remember seeing that one at all. I mean, obviously everyone had a PlayStation, or lots of people had a PlayStation, but it was hard to escape the usual suspects of Crash Bandicoot, Twisted Metal, and the occasional Final Fantasy VII for the more adventurous people were like, ooh, 3 discs. Wow. No, nice.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, No, Dragon. We can. You know what? We're gonna maybe have to scrub that entire anecdote because it's not Druaga. It was Dragon Buster that Dragon Valor continued on from. So everything I just shared, pretend that we were talking a little bit about Dragon Buster as well, and then all of that will be relevant then, and everything. This has nothing to do with Druaga and whoops, Namco. It is a Namco connection. That's it. But I thought I was creating a connective anecdote there, and I was completely wrong.
Look, Namco's been trying to connect things to things for a while now. Did you play Shadow Labyrinth this year? That game's crazy what they tried to do in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love Namco. Namco's crazy. They are crazy though, and I think that's why I love them. Yeah, that's fun. Okay. And I also love the art style to if you ever looked at old images of the arcade cabinet to Druaga and everything, like that's part of the cool part about going through those Namco museum games on the PlayStation. They had the fake little 3D environment you can walk through and see some like old like marketing materials and go into a room with a recreation of the arcade cabinet. It always had cool art. I always liked its art design and art style, for those games.
Okay, a sad fact about me, I only learned that Namco Museum used to be a museum last year when Andre and Vin recorded the Summer of Namco Museums last year, because my first Namco Museum was on the N64. It was like, yeah, here's Pac-Man and Galaga and Pole Position and some other games. Yep, that's your museum. Yeah, you bastards.
Yeah. Well, that's what I always thought it was about too. And it wasn't until I started making those books that, like, when I booted up to play and get some screenshots of it, I'm like, wait a minute, they actually put you in a really ugly, low poly, like 3D environment, but you can walk up to something and look at what the countertop card for this looked like, or what the arcade board circuitry looked like, or then you went into a room and in that room was a 3D rendering of the actual arcade cabinet, as well as like bringing to life like what you only saw in like a handful of pixels on a 2D screen, what maybe would look like interpreted into 3D, like in a small space. You couldn't like do anything with it. It was just for looks, but I always thought that was so rad. I mean, I wish more of these compilations and things did things like that to like, reimagine and reinterpret some of the visuals and art styles like in a way with new technologies. But I had no idea initially as a kid that that's how those things work. But it's fun if you have access to those PS1 Namco Museum games, it's fun to just check those things out and see how they really, I don't know. Like, I guess I want to say they upped what compilations and things could be, but once they moved on, it ended up just being the same thing again, just a list. You'd boot up a game to a menu and you'd select the title and it would start that game, and that was it. There was no other fancy packaging.
Yeah, there's that, but I also feel like there's the digital eclipses out there doing their they have a name for it, but their documentary series is that unofficially started with the Atari collection, where they've got all these interviews and things just jammed in there. And
yeah, I love those.
I feel like it's starting to make a turnaround.
Yeah,
back to that sort of thing.
Give all the money to Digital Eclipse to keep doing those things. Like I loved early Mortal Kombat's, but I bought that on day one, and I don't care for Mortal Kombat 4 or any of the later ones, or Special Forces and Mythologies, all those things. But like to have that all there and to go through that documentary mode where you see all those interviews all laid out and you can jump into the games, like give me all of that. Give me more of that. I absolutely love that stuff.
I said on the top, I'm on Team Street Fighter, but respect where respect's due. They really put that set together. I got to pick that one up soon.
Oh yeah. It's
Mortal Kombat
worth it.
1.
It is worth it. And you shouldn't ever do it, but you can play the Game Boy version of Mortal Kombat, on there, and actually just see like, wow, somebody released this and it had people pay money for this. And okay.
One of my cousins or something had one of the Game Boy ones, and I couldn't tell you which one, but I have a sneaking suspicion that they all play about the same.
Yeah, they're rough. They are. Yeah, I had a cousin who had the Game Gear version of it, so at least it was in color, but it still was just an unplayable soup. But that was that Mortal Kombat mania at the time. It didn't matter. Being able to see something that looked like that violent arcade game with those giant sprites, people wanted that at home, and it made boatloads of money. So
that'd be better than the Tiger Electronic versions, at least.
Yeah. Oh, that would be interesting if they could have had some of those recreated there. But yeah, that's interesting. All right. Well, we did it again. We answered the question, we solved the riddle, we foiled the villain, and the episode's over. So we did the thing, Steve. So thank you so much again for coming on to the show. I'll plug it again for you, but the links will be in the show notes as well. But go listen to Fine Time, listen to a couple friends talk about games from all eras, and like I said, even beyond games. Just talking about things they enjoy and they love and having a fun conversation about it. It's a really good podcast. So if you're looking to fill more of your ears with more entertainment, go check out their show. Anything else you want to send people off to do? Any homework you want to give us before we leave and sign off, Steve?
You know what? Pick something that you've been meaning to play and go play it, because these backlogs aren't going to finish themselves. Just don't play a comfort game. Reach out and play something else. Go do that.
I like that challenge. Yeah. Don't resume the same game you've been playing, or don't, replay that game you already like. Start something new tonight and see how much you enjoy it. Don't
start another Balatro hand.
Just one more, though. One more. A little quick run, 15 minutes, no big deal. All right, Steve. Well, thank you so much for coming on. You have the list of questions. Let's stay in touch. I'd love to have you come back and chat more. I'll cook up some new questions too, and we'll see what we can do. But thanks again. You have a good one.
Yeah, too.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I'm Nick McConnell, and you caught me reading the instruction booklet for Street Fighter II in preparation for my weekly stream Instruction Derby, where I take a look at the creative, fun, and sometimes bizarre lost art of video game manuals. Did you know that, according to the manual for Street Fighter II on the Super Nintendo, Ryu was born in 1964, making him 62 years young, canonically? Happy birthday, Ryu. You're looking great. Did you also know that, per the manual for Laser Invasion on the Nintendo, the UN enters a conclave in order to select a new commando? Or did you know that the dancing enemies in Super Castlevania are named Paula Abgul and Fred Askare? These important facts and many more are discovered every Wednesday at noon Pacific on Instruction Derby over at internet website twitch.tv/Nick McConnell. Part of the Soundstone Network.